Okay guys, I'm going to show you what you're going to need to do to use your sand printer. So it comes with some bits and pieces. This is your sand mix. The first thing you want to do is sort of shake it up. That will put some air inside of it and it will make it easier to pour out onto the sand printer. You've got your little wiper, and you're going to need to get yourselves one of these garden sprayers. You want something that's going to spray pretty fine because that will make it stick to the ground. So the whole point of the water is that when it combines with the sand mix, it sort of forms a glue, and that's what's going to stick it onto the ground so it doesn't blow away. Okay, so here we go. This is an older model, but it's kind of close to what you guys are doing, so I'm going to use that. First thing you want to do is you want to make the ground wet. Now, you don't want to make a puddle, but you do want it to be pretty wet because that's what's going to make the sand mix stick. So you can just go ahead and make the ground pretty wet. If it's too wet, what will happen will be that the sand will start to spread and it will become like a not very sharp image, so you don't want to have that. I picked a bit of an older pump here, I'm not helping myself. So there you go. You're going to put the water down first. Give it a good bit of water. You're going to take your printer, line it up on the water. You guys aren't going to have to contend with all these tiles. Give it a little shake. Now the trick is you don't want it to be very thick. The thinner that you can put it down, the better. That will keep it from blowing away in the wind and people walking over and smudging it. And it really doesn't need to be that thick. Might take some practice to figure out how much sand you need to pull. It's very simple. You've got your sand, you've got your little puller. It's going to pull a bit, you know, maybe a quarter of an inch or so. And you're just going to bring it across the surface. That's it. Don't do it twice. It needs to be very, very thin. You lift it up and you've got your print. Now if you notice, it's pretty thin. If it's really big and really thick, you're going to have a problem. So then what you're going to do is you're going to give it another little bit of water, and you sort of want it to become gray. It will get white again when it gets wet, and you have to be careful because if you really blast it with the water, it's going to spread it out too much. And to be honest with you, this is a little bit thick. I didn't do a practice run. I would suggest that you do a practice run. I really have a lousy pump here. And just let it get wet. Give it some time. This is just going to glue it all together and make sure it sticks. Now, because the ground is wet, it's already going to be stuck on the bottom. You're just sort of sticking the top to the bit that's on the bottom. That's it. Let it dry. It will be pretty stable. Of course, it's meant to be temporary. That's okay. But there you go. That's how you're going to do your sand print. But remember, thinner the better. You can keep it thin. It will go down. You'll have a much nicer, sharper image, and the chance of it spreading like this is less.